Now, just as Hilary has to leave us, I mean, her key issue here of choice and her key point on diversity, I just wanted to check very quickly by a show of hands. In fact, no, quick quiz question. Can anyone here name the last male white American Secretary of State before John Kerry? No, the last man, the last white man who was American Secretary of State. The last white man.
James Baker.
Come on.
Warren Christopher, there we are. But you see my point. It's been a while. I'd now like to put the next question to Ambassador Rahim of Pakistan. Ambassador, you come from a developing country, traditionally seen as more conservative perhaps than Canada on these issues.
Definitely.
What do you see as the major challenges towards political representation both in Pakistan but also in the Middle East and Lebanon?
You are not talking about me as a diplomat now, you're talking about political...
In more general terms.
About political representation. Yes, I do come from a more conservative country, considered to be so. But I have been, since being appointed as ambassador here, I have been very keenly following up on Lebanese women's issues in Lebanon. And I think, I'm sure Angelina will have a lot to say about this also. But as far as political representation goes, as far as nationality laws go, as far as civil laws for women go, I find that you have to really, the women in Lebanon would have to move on. I can give you a couple of suggestions on it if you like, but I just want to just briefly let you know that as compared to in Pakistan, I will come back to Lebanon in a bit, as compared to Pakistan, I feel the women in Pakistan have many, many, many more legal protections and rights than Lebanese women do. Very much so. I just want to briefly let you know that I had for the first time become aware that there used to be a law just about a decade plus ago in which you had to ask permission of your husband to leave the country, or there were issues of opening your own business, of opening a bank account, or opening an account of your children. It is unheard of in Pakistan. Even my mother would never have heard of such a thing. We had our freedoms right from the beginning. Similarly, we had in 1961, we passed the Muslim Family Laws Ordinance, in which Muslim marriages, because we are almost 97% Muslims in Pakistan, there was a lot of protection given to women in 1961 through this family law ordinance. For example, a man could not marry a second time without the written permission of his first wife. There is a lot of abuse of it. There is a lot of pushing women around on this, but the law exists and can be applied and is occasionally applied. Alimony and child support and a mother's right over her children to a certain age are absolutely followed through in the law and are given a lot of relief by the legal system of our country. We have in the past decade passed a couple of laws which are one of insulting modesty and sexual harassment, which is generally out in public, protection of women when they are in public transports, that becomes an issue. We have a law for the protection of women from harassment at the workplace. Sexual harassment at the workplace has become a law and is being followed through. We also had this very unfortunate practice of acid being thrown on the face of woman. She refused to marry somebody. You just throw acid in her face. There was no law actually to punish the person, and now it is come through, is being applied. Similarly, we have now a law which has been passed by our Senate on the protection against domestic violence, which includes violence by the husband and all forms of domestic violence that that connotes. And of course, we have a National Commission on the Status of Women, which was passed. It is the establishment of an autonomous commission to protect the economic, social, political, and legal rights of women. The chairman of this commission has to be a very active woman who has, in the past decades, played a very, very important role. It doesn't matter who her husband is. The person who is heading our National Commission for Women is Mrs. Khawar Mumtaz. I'm unaware of who her husband is, but I can tell you that the past 20 years, she has been in the forefront of women's rights and is a founding member of the Women's Action Forum. And these are women who, I know she belongs to a very influential family. These are women who came out on the streets against laws which they felt were very discriminatory against women, and they were beaten up by the police, they were put into jail, they came back and they went back on the street. Now these are the kind of women from which the chairman of the commission of our Women's Commission has been chosen. She was a founding member. This is just to give you, yes please. Yes, that's an excellent question. They are implemented in the urban areas where you have very strong women organizations and women lawyers who are very prominent. In the rural areas, very infrequently, and women can be abused. But the object is that it is a law on the statute of Pakistan, and it can be applied, and it is gradually growing. So you have terrible cases also, but the awareness is very much there. So, the other important thing is media. Our media is completely free, and therefore one important thing which I find missing very much in Lebanon is that if there is an abuse of a woman, the media discusses it. We have had some very brave women who've come out in public and they have specifically stated that they have either been raped or harassed, and especially for rape. They have said so, and the media has ensured that that woman gets redress through the law. As far as political representation goes, we've had in the past decade, we've had a fixed quota for women. And this quota is over and above those women who fight elections on a general seat. So there's a women's quota and there is a general seat quota. We have 22 to 23% of women in our national assemblies of about 359 members. 22% have to be women. No man can occupy that seat. This is over and above the women who fight gender rights. In our Senate, 20% have to be women. In our provincial assemblies, 27% have to be women. And if there are district council elections, 33% have to be women. Now, these are fixed quotas and they cannot be moved around. Of course, we are starting I'm not saying that we don't have issues with that, because the first lot of women who came in sometimes came in because of their fathers or their brothers or their husbands. But the next lot, believe me, are going to be different. And even if they were related, they created a lot of problems if women laws were not passed. And they are responsible for passing a number of these laws which I have read out to you. So basically, I want to say that to you. If you want my opinion, the Lebanese women have to lead this issue of getting more legal rights. You have to feel strongly enough to do it. The other thing is you have to have influential men